Let me tell you something. Life has a way of unveiling truths, doesn't it? You're sitting there, heart heavy, wondering why certain people walked out of your life, wondering why they betrayed you, hurt you, or acted like they were with you but were never really for you. But let me remind you of one thing. When you pray for clarity, when you ask God to guide your steps, He doesn't just show you the light. He'll also expose the darkness. He will let you see exactly who was pretending, who was wearing a mask, and who was never meant to be part of your journey. You might have thought they were your closest allies, the ones who laughed with you, broke bread with you, maybe even shared your dreams. But here's the truth you need to hear today. Not everyone who stands next to you is standing with you. God hears the whispers you don't. He sees the schemes that never reached your ears. And when the time is right, He pulls back the curtain and reveals the truth. You may never hear the truth once you get here, and it makes the difference between you and your God. And oh, it hurts, doesn't it? It stings. It feels like a knife to the heart when you realize that someone you trusted, someone you loved, was never genuine. When you pray to God for guidance, you're not just asking for direction, you're asking for clarity, for truth, for understanding. You're asking Him to reveal the hidden things, the unspoken realities, the intentions buried deep within the hearts of those around you. And when you pray with that kind of sincerity, God listens. He sees the struggles you're going through, the confusion clouding your heart, and the uncertainty weighing you down. When you give someone your heart saying, "Be confident, go," He knows that sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. He knows the whispers behind closed doors, the conversations you weren't a part of, and the smiles that were only surface deep. He knows everything, even when you can't see it. And so, when you ask for clarity, don't be surprised when God starts revealing the truth. It doesn't always come in the way you expect. It might not be an immediate moment of revelation, but rather a gradual unveiling, piece by piece. Sometimes it's a word spoken out of turn that doesn't sit right. Sometimes it's an action that doesn't align with their words. Sometimes it's just a feeling, a tugging in your spirit that tells you something isn't right. And as those pieces come together, the picture becomes clearer. God is answering your prayer by letting you see what's been hidden in plain sight. Yeah. But here's the thing. Clarity often comes with discomfort. When God shows you who people truly are, it can shake you to your core. It can feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. The people you thought you could count on, the ones you trusted with your secrets, your dreams, your heart, they suddenly look different. It's not that they've changed. They were always this way. You just couldn't see it before. So, and that's a hard truth to swallow. You might feel betrayed, hurt, even angry. You might question why God would let you go through this. But understand this. God's clarity is a gift, even when it feels like a burden. He's not showing you the truth to hurt you. He's showing you the truth to protect you, to free you, to guide you towards something better. Because God doesn't want you living in deception. He doesn't want you building your life on a foundation of lies. He loves you too much for that. So He answers your prayer for clarity by removing the blinders, by exposing the darkness that's been hiding in the shadows. And yes, it's painful, but it's also necessary. Think about it. How many times have you held on to people who weren't good for you simply because you didn't know the full story? How many times have you ignored the signs, the red flags, because you didn't want to believe them? How many times have you silenced that small voice inside you, the one trying to warn you, because facing the truth felt too hard? God knows that without clarity, you'd stay in those places. You'd keep trusting the wrong people. You'd keep giving your energy to relationships that drain you instead of filling you. And eventually, you'd lose yourself in the process. So God intervenes. He steps in and says, "No more." He lets you see the fake smiles, the empty promises, the selfish motives. He lets you hear the words they never meant for you to hear. He lets you feel the weight of their dishonesty so you can finally release it. It's His way of protecting you from further harm. His way of saying you deserve better. but you can only move forward if you're willing to accept the truth he's revealing. The hardest part about clarity is that it often forces you to make decisions you've been avoiding. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to pretending everything is fine. You can't keep making excuses for people who've shown you their true colors. You have to confront reality. And that's not easy. It might mean walking away from relationships you thought would last forever. It might mean distancing yourself from people you love because their actions don't match their words. It might mean standing alone for a while, trusting that God is enough to carry you through. So reach out first. And in those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, to question if you did something wrong, to wonder if you could have prevented the pain. But clarity isn't about punishment, it's about growth. It's about God showing you what you need to see so you can become who you're meant to be. He's not just answering your prayer for clarity, he's answering your prayer for a better life, for peace, for joy, or relationships that are built on truth and love, not pretense and deceit. Experiment. God's clarity is a reminder that he's always working on your behalf, even when it doesn't feel like it. He's removing what doesn't serve you to make room for what does. And while it might not make sense in the moment, you'll look back one day and see his hand in every detail. You'll see how he used the pain to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for something greater. You'll see that clarity was never about exposing others. It was about revealing the truth in you, the truth of your worth, your strength, your purpose. And that truth will set you free. There's a harsh but necessary truth in life that we all have to face sooner or later. Not everyone who stands next to you is truly standing with you. It's a truth that can catch you off guard because we're wired to trust, to believe in the best in others, and to assume that those who are close to us share our vision, our values, and our intentions. But the reality is that proximity does not equal loyalty. Just because someone is in your circle doesn't mean they are in your corner. And when this truth reveals itself, it can shake the very foundation of what you believed about your relationships. You see, there are people who will walk beside you not because they care about where you're going, but because they're trying to benefit from your journey. They'll clap for you when you succeed, but deep down, they're waiting for you to stumble. They'll offer you smiles and kind words, but only as a mask to hide their envy, their doubts about you, or even their plans to use your success for their gain. Turn your mind to the presence of kindness, for example. You see someone walking alone, these are the ones who stand next to you but never truly stand with you. And the sooner you recognize the difference, the sooner you'll find peace. It's not always easy to see this at first. Some people are skilled at playing the role. They'll tell you what you want to hear. They'll celebrate your wins publicly while questioning your motives privately. They'll offer support that's conditional, loyalty that's temporary, and love that's superficial. And when you're caught up in the whirlwind of life, it's easy to overlook the small inconsistencies, to ignore the subtle signs, and to convince yourself that everyone who's near you is with you. However, but the truth has a way of surfacing, and when it does, it's impossible to ignore. The revelation often comes in moments of vulnerability. When life throws challenges your way and you need real support, that's when you'll see who's truly with you. The ones who are just standing next to you will start to fade. They'll make excuses, they'll disappear when things get tough, they'll distance themselves when you're not in a position to benefit them. But those who are standing with you, they'll show up, they'll stay when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when it costs them something. That's how you know the difference. God allows these moments to happen, not to punish you, but to protect you. He knows you can't build a solid life with people who are only halfway invested in your journey. He knows you need people who will hold you up, not tear you down. People who will push you forward, not hold you back. And so he lets the truth come to light. He lets you see who's standing next to you and who's truly standing with you, so you can make the decisions you've been avoiding. It's his way of refining your circle, of surrounding you with those who align with your purpose. And when you see the truth, it's painful. There's no denying that. It hurts to realize that someone you trusted, someone you cared about, was never really with you. It's a betrayal that cuts deep. You might replay conversations in your mind, analyzing their words and actions, trying to understand how you missed the signs. You might question your own judgment, wondering if you're the problem, if you did something to push them away. It's not real. It's not based on truth, not based on facts. It's not based on value. But let me tell you this, it's not about you. It's about them. Their inability to truly stand with you speaks to their character, not yours. Once you recognize who's really with you, you'll find freedom. You'll stop wasting energy on relationships that drain you. You'll stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never fully support you. You'll stop holding on to connections that were never meant to last. And in that space, you'll find room for what truly matters. You'll find the people who are aligned with your vision, who share your values, and who celebrate your success without reservation. These are the people who will stand with you not just in the good times, but in the hard times too. The ones who will walk beside you because they believe in you, not because they're looking for something in return. There's strength in knowing who's really with you. It gives you clarity. It helps you set boundaries. It allows you to focus your energy on what truly matters. And as hard as it is to let go of those who are only standing next to you, it's a necessary step in your growth. Because you can't reach your full potential when you're surrounded by people who are only halfway invested. You need a team that's all in, a circle that's solid, a foundation you can trust. So the next time you feel betrayed or let down, remember this: not everyone standing next to you is standing with you. And that's okay. It's not your job to fix them or to make them see your worth. It's your job to stay true to your path, to trust in God's plan, and to keep moving forward. Because the ones who are truly with you, they'll walk beside you every step of the way, no matter what. And that's all you need. When God begins to move in your life, he often starts by shining a light on the things that have been hidden in darkness. This process can be unsettling, even painful, but it is essential for your growth, your healing, and your purpose. God knows what you can't see, the secrets hidden behind closed doors, the motives concealed behind smiles, and the harm disguised as help. And so he told me during the hardest days of my life that he was witnessing something immediately and perilous. He sees the things that aren't meant for your good, the relationships that hold you back, and the situations that drain your spirit. And because he loves you, he doesn't let you stay in that place of deception. He exposes the darkness. Not to hurt you, but to make room for the light. When this happens, it can feel like your world is being turned upside down. Suddenly, the things you thought were solid start to crumble. The people you believed in reveal sides of themselves you never expected. Situations you thought were blessings begin to show their true colors. It's disorienting, like walking into a room where the lights have just been turned on and you're forced to see the mess you didn't realize was there. But remember, God doesn't expose darkness to embarrass you or to leave you broken. He does it to free you. He does it to make room for something greater. The truth is, darkness cannot exist where light is present. God's light reveals what has been hidden, not so you can dwell in pain, but so you can make decisions that align with his plan for you. Imagine trying to walk through a room filled with obstacles in complete darkness. You'd stumble, trip, and hurt yourself over and over again. But when the light is turned on, you can see clearly. You can avoid the pitfalls and navigate the space safely. That's what God's light does in your life. It illuminates the things that are holding you back so you can move forward. But let's be honest, it's not easy to face the darkness when it's revealed. It's not easy to realize that someone you loved and trusted wasn't who they appeared to be. It's not easy to acknowledge that a situation you were clinging to was actually toxic. It's not easy to confront the areas of your own life where you've been living in denial or avoiding the truth. When God shines his light, it forces you to confront the reality of what is, not what you wished it would be. And that can be one of the hardest things to do. Yet it's in these moments of exposure that God is preparing you for something better. He's not just showing you the darkness for the sake of showing it. He's making room for his light to fill your life. You see, you can't hold on to what's wrong and expect to receive what's right. You can't stay in the midst of chaos and expect peace. You can't cling to the counterfeit and expect the authentic. God knows this, and that's why he steps in. He removes the veil, clears the clutter, and reveals the truth so you can make room for his blessings. When God exposes darkness, it's an invitation to step into something greater. It's his way of saying, this is not what I have for you. Let me show you what I've prepared instead. But to receive it, you have to let go of what's been holding you back. You have to trust that the pain of losing what wasn't meant for you is nothing compared to the joy of receiving what is. Jonathan. And that requires faith. Faith that God knows what he's doing. Faith that his plan is better than your own. And faith that his light will guide you through. It's important to understand that the process of exposure isn't just about others. It's about you too. When God shines his light, he doesn't just reveal the darkness around you, he reveals the darkness within you. He brings to light the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, and the patterns of behavior that have been holding you back. This isn't to shame you or make you feel unworthy. It's to help you grow. It's to refine you, to mold you into the person he created you to be. God loves you too much to let you stay in a place of stagnation. His light is there to transform you, not just your circumstances. As God exposes the darkness, you'll begin to notice how much lighter you feel. The relationships that once drained you no longer have a hold on you. The situations that caused you anxiety start to fade into the background. The weight of living in confusion and doubt is lifted, replaced by a sense of clarity and purpose. That's the power of God's light. It doesn't just reveal the darkness, it drives it out. And as the darkness fades, the light grows stronger, filling every corner of your life with hope, peace, and joy. This process isn't always quick, and it isn't always easy. There will be moments when you'll want to hold on to the familiar, even if it's not good for you. There will be moments when the light feels too bright, too overwhelming, and you'll be tempted to retreat back into the shadows. But don't let fear keep you from stepping into what God has for you. Trust that his light is leading you towards something greater. Trust that the discomfort of exposure is temporary, but the blessings that come from it are eternal. God exposes darkness to make room for light because he knows what you need even when you don't. He knows the relationships that will uplift you, the opportunities that will fulfill you, and the peace that will sustain you. But for you to receive them, you have to let go of what's been holding you back. You have to trust that his light is enough to guide you, even when the path ahead isn't clear. And as you walk in that light, you'll begin to see the beauty of what God has been preparing for you all along. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, even though it's often the one we resist the most. It's natural to want to avoid it, to shield ourselves from it, to push it away and pretend it's not there. But the truth is, pain is part of growth. It's the fire that refines us, the storm that strengthens us, and the challenge that molds us into who we are meant to be. Without pain, there can be no progress. Without struggle, there can be no strength. Without difficulty, there can be no depth to our character. When we think about growth, we often imagine the beauty of the end result. The triumph, the success, the sense of accomplishment. But we forget the path it takes to get there. Growth is not a straight line. It's a journey filled with twists and turns, highs and lows, joys and sorrows. And pain is what propels us forward. It's what forces us to stretch beyond our comfort zones, to confront the parts of ourselves that need healing, and to rise above the circumstances that try to hold us back. Pain doesn't just show up for no reason. It has a purpose. It's there to teach us lessons that comfort never could. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most challenged, the most broken, the most lost. Those moments, as painful as they were, shaped you. They taught you resilience. They taught you empathy. They taught you strength. They made you wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. They made you wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. They forced you to dig deep, to find parts of yourself you didn't even know existed, and to become someone you never imagined you could be. But let's be honest, pain is uncomfortable. It's messy. It's unpredictable. It comes in many forms: heartbreak, failure, disappointment, loss. It shakes us to our core and leaves us questioning everything. Why is this happening? What did I do to deserve this? Will it ever get better? These questions are normal, but they can also blind us to the truth. Pain is not here to destroy us. It's here to transform us. Number 4, would you be so kind as to paint the scene for me? It's here to wake us up, to shake us out of complacency, and to guide us toward our higher selves. The growth that comes from pain isn't always immediate. It's a process, and it takes time. It takes patience, courage, and faith. You don't wake up one day and suddenly feel healed. The scars take time to form, and the lessons take time to sink in. But if you trust the process, if you allow yourself to feel the pain instead of running from it, you'll find that it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of something new. It's the beginning of something new. It's the start of a chapter where you learn more about yourself, where you discover your strength, and where you step into a version of yourself that you didn't even know was possible. Pain often reveals what we truly value. It strips away the distractions, the noise, and the superficial, leaving us face to face with what really matters. When you go through pain, you begin to see life differently. The things you once took for granted become precious. The people you love become treasures. The small joys, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the beauty of a sunset, become moments of profound gratitude. And pain has a way of bringing us back to the basics, of reminding us what's truly important. And while pain is personal, it also connects us. It's something every human being experiences, no matter who they are or where they come from. It's a universal language that reminds us of our shared humanity. When you've been through pain, you become more compassionate, more understanding, more willing to extend a hand to someone else who's hurting. Your own wounds give you the ability to heal others. So you're going to be messy and feel like you have to get together. My fear of what my response was that some part of me was hurting just because they did the same to me. Let me explain. Your story of overcoming becomes someone else's source of hope. And in that way, pain becomes a gift. Not just for you, but for the world around you. There's a beauty in embracing pain, not as something to fear, but as something to learn from. It's not about romanticizing suffering or pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about recognizing that pain has a role to play in your life. It's about understanding that every tear, every heartbreak, every setback is a stepping stone to something greater. It's about trusting that even when you can't see it, there's a purpose to your pain. Growth is not easy. It's not comfortable. It's not painless, but it's worth it. The pain you feel today is shaping the strength you'll rely on tomorrow. The struggles you're facing now are building the resilience you'll need for the future. And the heartbreaks you endure are expanding your capacity to love, to empathize, and to connect with others. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It's a tool in the hands of God, shaping you, molding you, refining you into the person you were created to be. So, when pain comes, don't run from it. Don't numb it. Don't bury it. Sit with it. Acknowledge it. Let it teach you what you need to learn, and then let it go. Because pain is not meant to stay, it's meant to pass. And when it does, it leaves behind a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It leaves behind growth. It leaves behind light. It leaves behind the realization that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Pain is part of growth. It's a chapter in the story, not the whole book. And if you can endure the pain, if you can trust the process, you'll come out on the other side with a deeper appreciation for life, a stronger sense of purpose, and an unshakable faith in your own strength. You'll realize that the pain you thought would break you was actually the thing that built you. And in that realization, you'll find peace. Sometimes in life, we find ourselves holding on tightly to things, people, or situations that God is clearly trying to remove. It could be a relationship, a job, a friendship, or even a mindset. We cling to them because they feel familiar, safe, or comforting. But what we don't realize is that by chasing what God is removing, we are holding ourselves back from the blessings and opportunities He has prepared for us. God doesn't take things away to hurt us. He does it to protect us, to grow us, and to lead us toward His greater plan. And again, like I said, the more we love, the more we love. When God begins to remove something from your life, it's often a process that feels unsettling and uncomfortable. You might find doors closing that you didn't want to close, relationships drifting that you wanted to keep, or opportunities slipping away that you thought were meant for you. In those moments, it's easy to feel frustrated, confused. You may question why this is happening. You may wonder if you did something wrong or if God has forgotten about you. But the truth is, God's removal is not a punishment. It's preparation. He's making space for what's better, for what's right, for what's aligned with his purpose for you. And finally, number 4 is great. Learn to make mistakes to make you better. We often resist this process because we think we know what's best for us. We see only what's in front of us, but God sees the bigger picture. He knows what's ahead. He knows the battles we'll face and the blessings we'll receive. He knows the hearts of the people we're trying to hold on to, the truth behind the situations we're chasing, and the outcomes of the paths we're so desperate to take. When God removes something, it's not because he's being cruel. It's because he's being kind. Glad stories of offsets and shams took place at this hospital because he was being kind. Hell, he's protecting us from harm we can't see and guiding us toward the good we don't yet understand. But letting go is hard. It's human nature to want to hold on to what feels comfortable, even if it's not good for us. Change is scary and the unknown is daunting. We want answers, clarity, and guarantees before we're willing to release what's in our hands. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith is trusting that God knows what he's doing even when we don't. It's believing that his plan is better than our own even when it hurts. It's believing that God knows what he's doing is better than our own even when it hurts. It's surrendering to his will even when it means walking away from what we thought we wanted. Chasing what God is removing only prolongs the pain. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. It blinds us to the new opportunities and blessings that are waiting for us. When we chase after what God is trying to take away, we're essentially saying we don't trust him. We're saying we think we know better than the creator of the universe. But God is patient and he is loving. He will wait for us to let go. And when we finally do, we'll see why it was necessary. Sometimes God removes people from our lives because they're not meant to go where he's taking us. Their season in our story is over, and holding on to them will only hinder our growth. It doesn't mean they're bad people or that the time we shared with them wasn't meaningful. It simply means their role in our journey has come to an end. Other times, God closes doors to opportunities we thought were perfect for us. Secondly, but what we don't realize is that those doors lead to places that wouldn't fulfill us, wouldn't challenge us, or wouldn't align with his purpose for our lives. When God removes something, it's because he has something better in store. But we can't receive the better if we're clinging to the lesser. Imagine trying to carry a new gift while your hands are full of things you refuse to put down. You can't. You have to let go of what's weighing you down to make room for what's meant to lift you up. The same is true in life. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of faith. It's a declaration that you trust God to fill the empty spaces with his goodness, his grace, and his provision. The end of my marriage is incredibly unsettled because it was decidedly not my marriage. The process of letting go can feel lonely. It can feel like you're losing more than you're gaining. But remember, God never takes without giving. He never removes without replacing. What feels like a loss in the moment is often a gain in the long run. It's a step towards something greater, something you can't see yet, but will one day look back on with gratitude. Trust that God's timing is perfect and that his plan for your life is unfolding exactly as it should. It's important to understand that God's removal is also an act of pruning. Just as a gardener prunes a plant to encourage growth, God prunes our lives to help us grow. He cuts away the dead branches, the toxic relationships, the harmful habits, and the misplaced priorities. It's a painful process, but it's necessary for our flourishing. Without pruning, we can't bear fruit. Without removal, we can't grow into the people we were created to be. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing the value of what was. It means releasing it with gratitude and trusting that God knows what's best. It means acknowledging that his ways are higher than ours, and that his plan is always for our good. It means stepping forward in faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. So when God starts to remove something from your life, don't chase after it. Don't fight to hold on to it. Instead, lean into the process. Trust that God is working all things together for your good, even when it doesn't make sense. Believe that what's coming is better than what's leaving, and know that in the end, you'll see why it all had to happen the way it did. There comes a point in life where we are faced with situations that feel unjust, unfair, and deeply wrong. Someone betrays your trust, hurts you intentionally, or takes something precious from you. In these moments, the natural reaction is to seek justice, to demand accountability, and to make the other person feel the pain they've caused. But as hard as it is to accept, there is profound wisdom in letting God handle justice. There is also accountability in letting God handle justice. It requires patience, faith, and an understanding that true justice comes from the one who sees all, knows all, and works all things for good. When we try to take justice into our own hands, we often act out of anger, frustration, or a desire for revenge. While these feelings are normal, they can cloud our judgment and lead us down a path that doesn't serve our higher purpose. Revenge may offer a fleeting sense of satisfaction, but it doesn't bring healing. It doesn't restore what was lost, and it doesn't erase the pain. Instead, it often leaves us feeling more empty, more bitter, and more disconnected from the peace we truly seek. God's justice is different. It's not driven by emotion or a need to get even. It's rooted in truth, fairness, and divine wisdom. When you let God handle justice, you're trusting that he sees the situation for what it really is, not just the surface level actions, but the motives, the intentions, and the hidden truths that only he can uncover. You're acknowledging that his perspective is higher, his timing is perfect, and his ways are far better than anything you could orchestrate on your own. Letting God handle justice doesn't mean ignoring the wrongs done to you or pretending they don't matter. It means releasing the burden of retaliation and choosing to focus on your own healing and growth. It means recognizing that carrying anger and resentment will only weigh you down and keep you from moving forward. When you release that burden to God, you free yourself from the chains of bitterness and open the door to peace, freedom, and restoration. One of the hardest parts of trusting God with justice is the waiting. We want to see immediate results. We want to witness the person who hurt us face the consequences of their actions. But God's timing is not our timing, and his ways are not our ways. Justice may not come in the way you expect or when you want it, but rest assured, it will come. God is not blind to the wrongs you've endured. He is not indifferent to your pain. He is a God of justice, and he promises to act on your behalf. It's also important to remember that God's justice is not just about punishment, it's about redemption. His goal is not simply to make someone pay for their wrongdoing, but to bring about change, healing, and restoration. Sometimes this means the person who hurt you will face consequences that lead them to repentance and transformation. Other times it means God will use the situation to refine you, to strengthen you, and to draw you closer to him. Secondly, we must remember that before the defense comes, God will use the situation to refine you, to strengthen you, and to draw you closer to him. Either way, his justice is always redemptive, always purposeful, and always rooted in love. When you let God handle justice, you're choosing to rise above the situation and take the high road. You're refusing to let the actions of others dictate your character or your choices. You're showing strength, wisdom, and faith in the face of adversity. It's not about being passive or weak. It's about being courageous enough to trust that God will fight your battles and make things right in his way and his time. Letting go of the need to seek justice doesn't mean letting go of accountability. It doesn't mean tolerating abuse or staying in harmful situations. Setting boundaries, speaking your truth, and protecting your peace are all important steps in the process. But once you've done what's within your power, the rest is up to God. Trying to control outcomes or force justice will only drain your energy and distract you from the path God has for you. Forgiveness plays a key role in this process. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong or forgetting what happened. It's about releasing the hold that anger and resentment have over your heart. It's about choosing to heal rather than letting the pain fester. When you forgive, you're not letting the other person off the hook. You're simply handing them over to God. You're saying, this is too heavy for me to carry. I trust you to handle it. Forgiveness doesn't make you weak. It makes you free. There's incredible peace in knowing that you don't have to carry the burden of justice on your shoulders. You don't have to figure out how to make things right or ensure that the person who wronged you gets what they deserve. That's God's job, and He's far better equipped to handle it than you are. Your job is to focus on your own healing, to keep your heart pure, and to trust that God will take care of the rest. Sometimes God's justice is visible and you'll see the person who hurt you face the consequences of their actions. Other times it happens in ways you may never know or understand. But whether you see it or not, you can trust that God is always at work, bringing justice, healing, and restoration in His perfect way. Letting God handle justice is not about giving up. It's about letting go. It's about trusting that He is in control and that His plan is always for your good. It's about believing that even in the midst of pain and injustice, God is working all things together for your ultimate benefit. It's about having faith that no matter how unfair or difficult the situation may seem, God's justice will prevail. And when it does, you'll find not only peace, but also a deeper understanding of His love, His wisdom, and His unfailing faithfulness. Life often hands us challenges that leave us wounded, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. These wounds can come from broken relationships, unfulfilled expectations, betrayals, or failures that pierce us deeply. In these moments of pain, it's natural to dwell on what was lost or on those who hurt us. But healing and growth are not found in replaying the past or seeking revenge. They are found in turning inward, focusing on yourself, and allowing the process of restoration and transformation to unfold. Healing begins with acknowledgement. You cannot heal from wounds you refuse to face. It's okay to admit that you're hurt, that you're struggling, and that the pain feels unbearable. Denying or suppressing your emotions only prolongs your suffering. Healing doesn't mean pretending to be okay when you're not. It means giving yourself the space to feel, process, and understand what you've been through. It's about recognizing the depth of your pain while also believing in your capacity to overcome it. Growth, on the other hand, is the beautiful byproduct of healing. It's what happens when you allow your pain to teach you rather than define you. Every wound carries a lesson, and every setback holds the potential for a comeback. Growth requires you to shift your focus from "why did this happen to me" to "what can I learn from this?" It's about taking the broken pieces of your life and using them to build something stronger, something wiser, and something more resilient. Repurposing the lessons learned early in life as a higher key to your life's course. Why did you go through this? What can I learn from this? What can I learn so long as I learn from this? The journey of healing and growth is deeply personal. No one can walk it for you. While others can offer support, encouragement, and guidance, the work must come from within. It's a process of letting go. Letting go of resentment, letting go of blame, and letting go of the need for closure from those who hurt you. Holding on to these things only keeps you tethered to the pain. True healing comes when you release the past and focus on creating a future that is free from its grip. Healing is not linear. There will be days when you feel like you've made progress, only to be pulled back into the depths of your pain. That's okay. Healing is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about continuing to move forward, even when it feels like you're crawling. Celebrate the small victories. Every tear shed, every boundary set, every tear shed, every boundary set, every step taken towards self-care and self-love. These are the building blocks of your recovery. Growth requires patience and intentionality. It's about setting goals for yourself, not just to move past the pain, but to become a better version of yourself because of it. Use this time to explore who you are, what you value, and what you want from life. Read books that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, and engage in activities that nourish your soul. Growth is not about changing who you are, but about uncovering the strength, wisdom, and potential that have always been within you. One of the most challenging aspects of healing and growth is learning to forgive. Not just others, but also yourself. Forgiveness is not about excusing the hurt or forgetting what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness and guilt. When you forgive, you're not condoning the actions that caused you pain. You're choosing to prioritize your peace over your anger. Forgiving yourself is equally important. We all make mistakes, and holding on to shame or regret only stunts your growth. Extend yourself the same grace you would offer a friend. Healing and growth also require a shift in focus. It's easy to become consumed by the actions of others or the circumstances that caused your pain, but dwelling on them gives them power over your life. Instead, turn your attention inward. What do you need to feel whole again? What steps can you take to reclaim your happiness? Focus on your journey, not theirs. The people or situations that hurt you are no longer in control. You are. Self-care is a crucial part of this process. Healing and growth are demanding, both emotionally and physically. Take time to rest, recharge, and prioritize your well-being. Eat nourishing foods, move your body in ways that feel good, and create space for activities that bring you joy. Self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and taking care of yourself is the foundation for everything else. One of the most powerful tools for healing and growth is gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive to focus on gratitude in the midst of pain, but it can be transformative. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what's wrong to what's right, from what's missing to what's present. It doesn't diminish your pain, but reminds you that there is still beauty, goodness, and hope in your life. Each day, take a moment to reflect on something you're thankful for, no matter how small. Over time, this practice can help you see your journey through a lens of hope and possibility. James. As you focus on healing and growth, remember that it's okay to seek help. Whether it's through therapy, support groups, or trusted friends and family, you don't have to do this alone. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. Asking for help is not an admission of failure, but a step toward resilience. Surround yourself with people who will hold you up when you feel like falling, who will remind you of your worth when you forget, and who will celebrate your victories no matter how small. Healing and growth are not about erasing the pain, but about transforming it. They're about taking the ashes of what was and using them to build a foundation for what will be. They're about becoming stronger, wiser, and more compassionate because of what you've endured. This process is not easy, but it's worth it. Each step you take brings you closer to the life you deserve. A life filled with peace, purpose, and joy. You have the power to heal. You have the capacity to grow. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and believe in the incredible strength within you. The pain you feel today is not your final destination. It's a stepping stone on the path to something greater. Keep moving forward. You are not defined by your pain, but by how you rise from it. And you will rise. Okay? Life has a way of throwing challenges at us. Heartaches, setbacks, moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. In those times, it's easy to believe that what's behind us is better than what's ahead. We look at the past with longing, wishing we could go back to what was familiar, what felt secure. But life's beauty isn't found in what's already happened. It's found in the hope and promise of what's yet to come. You may not see it now, but the best is still ahead. It's waiting for you, unfolding in ways you can't yet imagine. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's hard to see the silver lining. Pain has a way of blinding us, of making us think that things will never get better. But storms don't last forever, and neither does the pain. Each trial you face is not the end of your story, but a chapter in a much larger narrative. The best is yet to come, because every moment of struggle is preparing you for something greater. And when you reach that moment of concession to your grace, the best is yet to come, because every moment of struggle is preparing you for something greater. Every tear you've shed, every battle you've fought is building strength within you, shaping you into the person you're meant to be. You've been through dark days before, and you made it through. Remember those times when you thought you'd never smile again, never feel joy again, never see the light again, yet here you are, stronger, wiser, and braver. That's proof that life moves forward, that seasons change, and that better days always come. If you hold on, if you keep going, you'll find that the future holds blessings that far outweigh the pain of the past. Creativity and bravery. Creativity and bravery. Sometimes the best that is yet to come isn't about things working out exactly how you envisioned. It's about things working out better than you could have ever imagined. The problem is that we often cling so tightly to our plans, our dreams, and our timelines that we miss the bigger picture. We think we know what's best for us, but God has a way of taking what we think we want and giving us what we truly need, and giving us what we truly need. And trust me, what he has in store is far beyond anything you could dream up for yourself. Okay? You might not understand why things are the way they are right now. You might be questioning why you had to lose that job, why that relationship fell apart, or why you're struggling when others seem to be thriving. But the challenges you face today are not punishments, they are preparations. Life is molding you, refining you, and stretching you so that when the best does come, you'll be ready for it. You'll have the strength to embrace it fully, the wisdom to steward it well, and the gratitude to never take it for granted. The best is yet to come because life is full of second chances, fresh starts, and new opportunities. Every day you wake up is a chance to begin again, to write a new chapter and to pursue your dreams. It's never too late to chase what sets your soul on fire. Whether you're 20, 40, or 70, there's still time to live a life that excites you, a life that fulfills you, a life that reflects the greatness within you, your age, your past mistakes, your current circumstances. None of these things define your potential. They are merely stepping stones on your journey to something extraordinary. Number 4, faith is a key ingredient in believing that the best is yet to come. It requires trusting in what you can't see and believing in what hasn't yet happened. Faith is what keeps you moving forward when everything around you tells you to give up. It's the voice that whispers, hold on a little longer, don't quit. There's something amazing just around the corner. Faith doesn't promise an easy road, but it promises a worthwhile destination. Faith doesn't promise a wistful world, but it promises a worthwhile destination. And when you walk in faith, you carry a hope that no circumstance can take away. So, the best is yet to come because growth never stops. Life is a journey of continuous learning, evolving, and becoming. Each day offers a new lesson, a new opportunity to grow closer to your potential. Even in the hardest seasons, you're growing. Even when it feels like you're stuck, like nothing is changing, like you're moving backward, growth is happening beneath the surface. And when the time is right, that growth will bloom into something beautiful. Your struggles will turn into strengths, your setbacks will turn into comebacks, and your losses will turn into gains. One of the most powerful things you can do is to let go of what no longer serves you. Sometimes the best can't come until you release the past. It's hard to move forward when you're still holding on to old pain, old grudges, and old dreams that no longer align with who you're becoming. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about making room. Room for new opportunities, new blessings, and new joys. Hitting Reom isn't even about letting go of what no longer serves you. It's about making room. Room for new opportunities, new blessings, and new joys. The best is yet to come, but you have to be willing to make space for it in your life. Gratitude is another essential part of embracing the belief that the best is yet to come. When you focus on what you already have, you cultivate a mindset of abundance. And when you approach life with an abundant heart, you attract more goodness into your life. Gratitude shifts your perspective from lack to abundance, from disappointment to hope, and from fear to faith. It reminds you that even in the waiting, even in the struggle, there is still so much to be thankful for. So keep going, keep believing, keep holding on to the hope that tomorrow will be better than today, because it will. Life is full of twists and turns, and the best often comes when you least expect it. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that the challenges you face now are setting the stage for something incredible. Number 4, all is not lost. If you focus on the moment, nothing will ever go awry. The best is yet to come, not because life is perfect, but because you are resilient, you are hopeful, and you are capable of creating a future that is bright, beautiful, and full of possibility. So when you let go of what was false, God can fill your life with what's authentic. True friends, real love, genuine peace. So don't let the betrayal break you. Let it build you. Let it strengthen your faith. Because when you walk with God, He'll show you the truth, and He'll also lead you to victory. Remember this, the same God who exposes the fake will reward your faith. Stay strong, stay focused, and most of all, stay true to yourself. The best is yet to come. Thank you.